And where were you born?
I was born Peggy May Weine, W-E-I-N-E, and I was born at number 6 Old Street, Haverfield.
Yeah.
And I was the first child. And then 7 years later, the second child was born, which was my sister Betty, in 1928. That was in 1921. I didn't say that today. 2nd of May 1921. And soon after, when I was still in a cot, my father was in the fibrous fixing business, and there was a downturn in the economy, and everyone was losing their jobs, and nobody wanted to build houses and put fibrous fixing in
This is like
the roofs.
Plaster.
Fibrous plaster.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And his father, which would be my grandfather, had a place in Ashfield, a very big place in the main street in Ashfield. I've forgotten the name of it. And he had this fibrous works where they made the ceilings in these big vats and poured them into the trays to set, and my father used to make the patterns for the trays.
I thought he was a bricklayer.
Well, he was a bricklayer as well, later, but so he used to make these patterned roses and wildflowers and things like that, and he made those patterns into this plastic material which was the base of the trays.
Did he carve them first?
Yeah.
He carved the pictures?
He carved them and rounded them off and everything, made them all smooth.
Carved them out of plastic?
No, in the material that's on the thing. It was sort of soft material.
Where did he get his designs from?
He just made them up.
Did he? He was artistic.
And and then they used to sell these ceilings when they'd been made, and it was a very big factory. But then there was this downturn, and so there was no money to pay the son, because the grandfather couldn't pay the people, but he had to pay for the materials, and so he couldn't pay wages. So Dad couldn't take home any money, and so he couldn't pay the rent on the house in Old Street.
No, but hang on, now before this, your mother, she came out from England.
My mother was born, where was she born?
Oh no, she didn't come from England, that's right.
No. I have to go back to her. Where was she born? I'm not quite sure whether she was born in South Australia or Victoria, and then she came up to England.
Oh, okay.
I came up to New South Wales later.
Right, yes.
And she had got a job as a secretary to the grandfather's business in
that's how they met.
Ashfield, and that's how they met, because she used to do all the banking and everything, and she used to drive a sulky and have to go and do the banking in a little sulky.
Really? Oh my God.
And so anyway, the bailiffs came because they couldn't pay the rent, and his father should have given him some money to help avoid this, but that was a bone of contention that he didn't get anything. And so the bailiffs came and they took everything, but they allowed the cot for the child and the mother's sewing machine not to be taken. All the rest of the furniture in the house was put out in the front of the street.
This is his father's house, or this is your father's house?
Yes, in my father's house.
After he was married?
Yes, he
married her?
He married, and I was in a cot.
Oh, you were in a cot. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so they had to put everything out in the street.
Everything out in the street was so demoralising to
and you were
my mother.
Out in the street.
I was taken to the grandmother's house. That's Nanny. That's Dad's mother.
Yeah.
And so we all went and,
What year was
and
that?
stayed there.
You were taken out?
When I was a child, a young child.
So you were only a baby?
I was in a cot. I was probably 2 or something. And then,
So how did you live? You just lived with her
and so they, and he had a car. That car went too. He had a car. Never had a car afterwards.
No.
But that car anyway, he'd broken a bit because he and Mum's sister's husband had been drinking too much in the car, and they smashed the car up. So that went, and they never got another car all their life.
The whole life?
And
So did you stay?
and then we stayed with Nanny for a long while, which meant Margot and I became very friendly. And then the baby, then we had a house in Ashfield. A house in Ashfield when Betty was born. And I didn't want to leave the baby, and so I was supposed to walk across the park to Concord School, and I kept coming home.
Do you want to see the new baby?
I want to see the new baby. And my mother would pick the baby up and me up and drag me back to school. An hour later I'd be back home again.
Really?
So she was...
Concord Primary School?
Concord, yeah. So
did you, did she work then when you were at school, or she was at
No.
home?
No. But she did, she used to make dresses. She used to work from home. She did a lot of knitting and making underwear for brides things, you know. Do all that. She did a lot of sewing and knitting and very fancy embroidery work on underwear.
Was your father, was he then a bricklayer then, or was he still working in that business?
He was a bricklayer then. And then things got bad again, and he couldn't get any work in Sydney.
What year are we up to now?
This is about 1920. Betty was born, so it must have been 1930.
Who was the Depression?
In the Depression. And then he applied in the newspaper to build a... he's a builder, and he applied to build the... What was the first thing? The Wallaroi College.
Oh.
There was a big extension to Wallaroi College.
Where's that?
In Orange. And so he went up to Orange with his mate, and they went up there to build this, and that was going well, and then we had to follow. Don't know how we got up there. And so then we were in Orange for a few years, and then coming back down, then while we were up there, he finished the Wallaroi College, and the next thing he got was the lunatic asylum.
Really?
And he had a big job in the lunatic asylum.
At Orange?
At Orange, yeah. So there were 2 big jobs, and that lasted for quite a while. But the depression was so bad, we had all these funny pretended coins, and you had to go with these to the shops and ask the shops to take them. Sometimes they didn't want to take them because they were given to you
by the government?
By the government, because you're out of work. And it was very demoralising, and Mum used to feel badly at having to do this.
Well, because a lot of people around you had money.
Had money, and you're producing these...
Because building trade, there weren't many people, no one wanted to build.
No one wanted to build. Obviously.
It was me.
And so these coins were like that, and she would be dragging me and the baby around with us to go to get food in these shops.
Oh, God.
And then there was a wonderful person who was in some church group, and this man and his wife used to bring us food.
Okay.
And they'd come to the house and bring a tray full of food and stuff.
What sort of food?
Oh, just anything that they'd made, you know.
Were they close by and they knew you, or they just did it?
Close by, and they brought it, yeah.
Did they know you, or did they have kids that went to the same school?
No, they must have known Mum, I think. And then Dad got a job in the bakery at night, and they would let him bring home anything that couldn't be sold. So he'd bring home smashed pies or all sorts of things like that, and cakes and that didn't have proper icing, and so we'd get those too. And then he got shingles, and he's in front of the big fireplace we had there in Orange. And I can remember him standing there in front of the fireplace where Mum had to dress all these dreadful sores. The stress, yeah. So, and then all our furniture got put on a truck, and this man that Dad knew, not very well, said he'd drive the truck down to Sydney while Dad fixed up things with Orange, and he took all our furniture down. And
why are we going? When you're moving back to Sydney?
Moving back to Sydney, and all the furniture was lost because he must have been drunk or something. Went over the road and it went down over the in the mountains. Yeah. So lost everything.
But why are you going back to Sydney? Because there's more work there.
Yeah, had to get more work back there. I think he went back to work for his father.
Oh, okay. So you were like a teenager then?
I was
well, at primary school still.
12, I suppose. Yeah.
So then you went to Orange, back to Haverfield.
We went. No, where did we? No, we went.
Croydon Park.
Maybe we went to Croydon Park then.
Croydon Park.
Yeah, because I went to Croydon Park School.
Oh, is it? Yeah. But what happened in the hospital?
In Orange, we had this backyard with the middle part of the backyard had a fine wire netting fence, and when it snowed, all the fence looked gorgeous with all the snow dripping down on the wire netting. And
you used to play in the snow.
Yeah, and Betty used to go looking for the drakes, because some drakes and ducks used to come down the road in Orange, up in East Orange, and she'd like to get under the fence. She'd climb under the fence and get out to chase the ducks.
Did you have to look after her?
She should be about 2 then, wouldn't she? And so I'd have to tell my mother to go and chase her and bring her home. And so that was all right. But then I got sick, and I got double pneumonia and pleurisy and put in Orange Hospital for 2.5 months. There was no antibiotics, and they used to put antifigestion on me.
What's that?
It's a sort of a mixture that they rub all over your chest and back.
Like Like Vicks Vape Rub?
Well, it's thicker than that, yeah. And then they had to drain the fluid out, so there was a little hole in my back where they drained the fluid off my lungs.
Wait, was it in your back?
Yeah.
Would it be where that hole, that lump is now?
No, lower down.
They actually made holes. You're joking.
Yeah, they punctured the back there to drain the fluid.
Oh my God.
And I had about 8 pillows and sitting up in bed in the hospital. And my father used to go out catching rabbits, and we'd eat the rabbits. But this time he found this lovely little black rabbit, and he had it wrapped in a shawl and in a basket, and he brought it illegally into the hospital
for
me to play with. But he'd have to take it home each day because he couldn't leave it there.
That's cute. Mum, didn't they give you anything for the pneumonia? There's nothing, there's no antibiotics at all?
No antibiotics in those days, no.
Well, didn't they try anything? Any medicines or anything?
Oh, they probably did, but they weren't much good.
Well, when was the penicillins invented?
Oh, a long time after that.
When?
I don't know.
Look that up.
You
That's
can look
amazing.
It up. Oh, a long time after that, I'm sure. Yeah. So...